The Great Hall of the Starborn Ascendancy. 47 species. One enemy. Humanity. They are primitive. They are arrogant. They expand without permission. A declaration is made. War. A 72-hour ultimatum to surrender their worlds, their ships, their freedom, or face annihilation. But what if the weapon you thought was their weakness was actually the trigger for yours? What if the primitives you came to conquer were just waiting for you to get into position? Humanity incinerated them all after the Galactic Council declared war. Before the story begins, join the fleet by subscribing to the channel and arm the like button to support our cause. Alright, let's begin the story. The Great Hall of the Starborn Ascendancy buzzed with angry voices. Creatures from 47 different worlds sat in their specialized chairs, each one designed for their unique bodies. Some had 4 arms, others had tentacles, a few floated in tanks of strange, swirling gas. But they all shared one thing. They were very, very upset with humanity. Prelate HFY stood at the center of the room, his blue skin gleaming. His 4 arms moved wildly as he spoke, a massive screen behind him showing a human colony on Kepler 442b. Look at what these humans have done, HFY shouted, his voice translated into dozens of languages. They built cities on a protected world. They dug mines where we told them not to. They changed the very air and water without permission. The other aliens made sounds of anger. The Kthar clicked their sharp beaks. The crystalline Shindai chimed in high-pitched, discordant notes. At the far end of the room, sitting alone, was emissary Jianli, the only human in the entire building. Her face was a mask of calm as she listened. The humans ignore our messages, hissed another delegate, a giant insect with rainbow-colored wings. We sent warnings. We told them to stop. They did not even answer us. Jianli had heard it all before. For months, the Ascendancy had been sending angry missives to Earth. They said humans were expanding too fast, that they were too violent, that they did not respect the ancient rules that had kept the peace for thousands of years. The problem was simple. In the 200 years since humanity had achieved interstellar travel, they had built colonies on 37 different worlds. The older species, who had been flying between the stars for 10 millennia, were nervous. "We have been patient," said Matriarch Vorla of the hegemony. She was ancient, even by alien standards, her gray scales having seen 1,000 years of galactic politics. "We have tried to teach these humans proper behavior. They refused to learn." The accusations went on for hours. They talked about Earth's violent history. They mentioned human weapons that could destroy entire cities. Through it all, Jianli sat quietly, taking notes on a small tablet. She did not argue. She did not defend. She just listened and waited. Finally, Matriarch Vorla called for quiet. "The time for words has passed. Humanity has shown they cannot be trusted. They threaten the peace we have worked so hard to build." Jianli looked up from her tablet. She knew what was coming. "Therefore," Vorla continued, her voice resonating with finality, "the Starborn Ascendancy hereby declares war on the human species. We give Earth's government 72 standard hours to surrender completely. All human colonies must be abandoned. All human ships must be turned over to our control. The human military must be disbanded. Immediately." The delegates erupted in cheers. "If humanity refuses these terms," Vorla's voice cut through the noise, "we will use force to remove them from space. Permanently. Our combined fleets will destroy every human ship, station, and colony. Earth itself will be placed under military occupation." She turned to look directly at Jianli. "Do you understand these terms, human?" Jianli stood up slowly. She was smaller than most of the aliens, but her calm manner commanded their attention. "I understand perfectly," she said, her voice clear and steady. "You are declaring war on us because we refuse to follow rules we never agreed to. You want us to surrender everything because you are afraid of competition." Several delegates started to protest. Jianli raised her hand for silence. Surprisingly, they quieted. "I will transmit your declaration to Earth immediately," she continued. "Our government will concede. Are your terms. But I feel I should warn you about something." Matriarch Vorla's scaled face showed a flicker of curiosity. "What warning do you offer, small human?" "You think you know everything about us," Jianli said. "You have watched us, studied our ships, our weapons, our technology. You believe we are primitive compared to your advanced civilizations. She walked closer to the center of the room, her footsteps echoing in the sudden silence. "But there is something you do not understand about humans," she said. "We are very good at hiding our true capabilities. We have learned much from watching you, more than you realize." The crystalline Shindai created a dismissive musical chord. "Human arrogance," their translator announced. "Your species has nuclear weapons. We have antimatter cannons. This war will last perhaps 1 week." Jianli smiled. It was not a happy expression. It was the kind of smile that made predators nervous. "Perhaps you are right," she said. "But consider this. If we are so primitive, why are you so afraid that you need to declare war? Why not just ignore us?" The question hung in the air. "The vote is final," Vorla said, though her voice was less certain. 72 hours, human. Surrender or face destruction." Jianli nodded politely. "I will inform my government. But matriarch, I want you to remember this moment. Remember that I tried to warn you." She gathered her things and walked toward the exit. Just before leaving, she turned back one last time. "You have made a grave mistake today," she said. "I suspect you will regret this decision. Very much." The doors closed behind her, leaving the council chamber in an uncomfortable silence. Vorla stared at the closed doors. The human's calm confidence bothered her. But the intelligence reports were clear. Earth had fewer than 1,000 starships. The Ascendancy commanded over 40,000. "Begin mobilizing the fleet," she ordered. "Humanity will learn their place." But as the delegates filed out, many wondered why the emissary from a doomed species had seemed so completely unafraid. The emergency session of the United Earth Government was called immediately. In the Great Assembly Hall in Geneva, representatives from every nation and colony gathered. Chancellor Eva Rostova stood at the podium, her dark eyes serious. "The situation is clear. The Ascendancy has given us 3 choices. Surrender completely, fight a war we cannot win, or find a third option they have not considered." The hall erupted. "We cannot surrender," shouted a representative. "They want to take everything. And we cannot fight," another countered. "Look at the numbers. They have 40,000 ships. We have less than 900. What third option, Madam Chancellor?" a voice called out. Rostova gestured to the side of the stage. Fleet Admiral Marcus Thorne, head of the Solar Defense Force, walked to the podium. "Ladies and gentlemen," Thorne said, his voice grim, "let me give you the hard facts. The Ascendancy commands over 8,000 star systems. Their combined population exceeds 3 trillion. In a conventional war, we would be completely destroyed within 2 weeks." The hall fell silent. The reality was clear. They were children with sticks facing a pack of wolves. "Then we must surrender," a representative said, his voice broken. "Never," another shouted. "Humans do not surrender to bullies." As the arguments raged, a soft voice spoke from the back of the hall. "Excuse me. May I address the assembly?" Everyone turned. A small woman with gray hair and thick glasses, wearing a simple white lab coat, walked slowly to the front. "Dr. Alani Petrova," the chancellor announced, "Director of Advanced Weapons Research." Dr. Petrova reached the podium and connected a small device to the holographic display. "I need to show you something," she said quietly. "But first, I must have your promise that what you see here will never leave this room." A representative looked confused. "Dr. Petrova, with respect, what could you possibly have? The Ascendancy has studied our technology for decades. They know exactly what we are capable of." Dr. Petrova smiled, a shy, secretive smile. "Actually, they know exactly what we have allowed them to see. That is not the same thing at all." She activated her device. The holographic display changed, showing technical diagrams of human starships. But these were not the ships Admiral Thorne commanded. "Project Jericho has been operational for 18 months, Petrova explained. "Every human vessel, space station, and planetary installation has been secretly modified with quantum resonance chambers." "Explain what that means in simple terms," a delegate requested. "Imagine every human structure in space as a single instrument in a huge orchestra," Petrova said. "Individually, they can only make small sounds. But when they all play together, they can create something much more powerful." She changed the display. Energy readings appeared, numbers so large they made several delegates gasp. The Jericho network allows every human ship and station to channel energy through hyperspace tunnels that bypass normal physics. When activated simultaneously, The combined power output exceeds the total energy production of most star systems. Admiral Thorne stood up, his face pale. Dr. Petrova, are you saying every ship in my fleet has been carrying weapons I did not know about? Not weapons, Admiral. One weapon. The ships, stations, and colonies are simply components in a single weapon system that spans our entire civilization. In practical terms, the Chancellor asked, what can it do? Petrova looked around the room. Madam Chancellor, it can destroy the entire Ascendancy fleet. In approximately 30 seconds. The energy release would be visible from neighboring galaxies. The hall was completely silent. How? A representative whispered. How did we develop this without anyone knowing? We didn't develop it, Petrova replied. We discovered it. 5 years ago. Ruins of an ancient civilization in the Andromeda Arm. Most of the tech was beyond us, but we decoded their quantum manipulation systems. She looked directly at the Chancellor. The civilization that built it destroyed themselves with it about 50,000 years ago. They used it against an invasion force from another galaxy. The weapon worked. The enemy was annihilated. The energy feedback also destroyed every planet in their own star system. And you built it anyway? A delegate asked in horror. We improved it, Petrova said simply. The original design was crude. Our version is controlled. The energy is channeled through hyperspace. No feedback. The destruction occurs only at the target coordinates. The vote was taken 1 hour later. 412 in favor. 88 against. Humanity would not surrender. They would activate the Jericho network. The largest military force in galactic history moved through space. 43,000 ships from 27 different species. A massive wall of vessels that stretched across several light years. Grand Admiral Forlag stood on the bridge of the Hegemony flagship, Eternal Victory. He was personally responsible for putting these upstart humans in their place. Report from the advanced scouts, his communications officer announced. The first human colonies are responding. Unconditional surrender. They are abandoning their worlds and fleeing toward Earth. They are running already, laughed an admiral on the fleet comms. But something bothered Forlag. The retreat was too easy, too clean. His fleet advanced. Colony after colony was found abandoned. 17 of them. The cities were empty, but the buildings and equipment were left behind. No military forces. No defenses. Nothing. On Proxima Centauri, the first human colony, scouts found 3 million people simply gone. Their cities were intact. Power systems running. Even their pets were alive in automated care facilities. But every human had vanished. Where did they go? A captain wondered. Our sensors show no signs of mass evacuation. No ship trails. They just disappeared. The Ascendancy Armada reached the edge of the Sol system. What they found made no sense. Earth hung in space, completely undefended. A few civilian stations orbited nearby. Some mining platforms. But no warships. No battle stations. What about their fleet? Forlag demanded. Intelligence said they had almost 900 ships. Unknown, sir. We detect some vessels, but they appear to be civilian craft. Cargo haulers, transports, research vessels. Nothing that poses a threat. This was not what Forlag had expected. Every species in history made some attempt to defend their home world. The humans had done nothing. Sir, the communications officer announced. We are receiving a transmission from Earth. Put it on screen. A middle-aged human woman in a military uniform appeared. Admiral Marcus Thorne. This is Admiral Thorne of the Solar Defense Force. I am authorized to discuss terms of surrender. This was more like it. I am Grand Admiral Forlag, he replied. You will surrender unconditionally, as demanded by the Ascendancy. Thorne nodded calmly. We are prepared to comply. However, our surrender comes with one condition. Forlag felt his temper rising. You are in no position to make conditions. The condition is very simple, Thorne continued. We want you to come closer. What? Your fleet is currently at the edge of our system. For security reasons, we cannot transmit surrender codes at this range. Please advance to within 1 light hour of Earth. At that distance, we can transfer control of all our systems to your command. Forlag considered it. A reasonable technical request. Very well. We will advance. But understand this, Admiral. If this is some kind of trick, we will destroy every human world in the galaxy. I understand completely, Grand Admiral. We will be waiting. The transmission ended. As his fleet began moving deeper into the Sol system, Forlag still felt that something was wrong. "Sir," the sensor operator said suddenly, "I am detecting new energy signatures. Faint, but coming from the civilian vessels and the mining platforms." Grand Admiral, an allied commander, spoke over the comms. "My sensors show the same. It looks like the humans are powering up some kind of equipment." Forlag felt a chill. "The energy readings are strange, sir," his operator reported. "They do not match any known human technology. It appears to be some kind of quantum manipulation system." "Impossible," Forlag roared. "Humans do not have quantum technology." But more and more signatures were appearing. Hundreds of them. Every human structure in space was powering up simultaneously. "Grand Admiral," his communications officer said, his voice worried. "I am detecting similar energy signatures from the colonies we passed. It appears they were not abandoned. There are massive energy readings. The humans were hiding, and now they are activating something." Forlag stared at the sensor displays in growing horror. The readings were increasing exponentially. Whatever the humans were doing, it involved their entire civilization. "All ships, emergency maneuvers," he shouted into the fleet channel. "Scatter formation, maximum defensive posture." But it was already too late. Space around the Ascendancy fleet began to glow with an eerie blue light. Admiral Thorne's voice came over all frequencies, calm and emotionless. "Grand Admiral Forlag, you wanted humanity to surrender. Instead, you are about to learn why that was never going to happen." Deep beneath the Swiss Alps, Dr. Alani Petrova stood in the Jericho control facility. Chancellor Eva Rostova stood beside her, watching the main display. The alien armada was in perfect position. "Network synchronization complete," a technician reported. "All 847 vessels are ready. All 2,847 hidden installations are online. Colony systems showing green." Every human structure in space was now part of the same quantum network. Cargo haulers were focusing arrays. Mining platforms were energy collectors. The Council fleet is positioned in a sphere approximately 0.3 light-years in diameter. The technician continued. "Formation is tight, concentrated, perfect," Petrova said quietly. "They couldn't have arranged themselves better." "Madam Chancellor," she said, "I need your final authorization. Once we begin the activation sequence, there is no way to stop it." "Dr. Petrova," the Chancellor asked, "what happens to the ships not in our target zone?" "The quantum fire will spread through hyperspace. Any ship using Ascendancy standard FTL drives is connected through quantum entanglement. The energy will follow those connections back to their points of origin. It will destroy their entire fleet, even ships light years away." "And civilian ships?" "Safe. The targeting system distinguishes between military and civilian quantum signatures." The Chancellor took a deep breath. "Admiral Thorne," she said over the comms, "inform the Ascendancy fleet that humanity's answer is about to be delivered." She looked at Petrova. "Doctor, you have my authorization. Execute Jericho." Petrova pressed her palm against the biometric scanner. Jericho network activation initiated. "All station S, begin quantum alignment sequence." Across space, human ships came alive with power they were never meant to have. Energy readings spiked beyond all known limits. On the bridge of the Eternal Victory, Forlag watched in horror as his sensors showed energy readings that should have been impossible. The human ships were generating more power than some stars. "All weapons, target the nearest human vessels. Fire everything." The Ascendancy fleet opened fire. A storm of antimatter, gravitational disruptors, and plasma tore through the void. But when the weapons reached their targets, the human ships simply absorbed the energy, channeling it into the Jericho network. "Impossible," Forlag screamed. In the control center, Petrova spoke calmly. 90% power. The Ascendancy fleet has just provided us with an additional boost." "How thoughtful." 100% power achieved, a technician announced. "Ready to fire on your command." Dr. Petrova turned to her console and spoke clearly into her microphone. "All stations, this is Jericho Control. Execute quantum fire. Target all Ascendancy military vessels. Authorization code Alpha 779. The effect was instantaneous and devastating. Every human installation in the galaxy fired simultaneously through hyperspace. Space around the Ascendancy fleet erupted in blue-white fire that burned hotter than the cores of stars. 43,000 warships ceased to exist. They did not explode. They were converted directly into energy at the molecular level. The quantum fire spread through hyperspace. In star systems hundreds of light years away, Ascendancy patrol fleets and defense platforms burned in the same impossible fire. On Hegemony Prime, every military ship in orbit erupted in quantum flames. In less than 30 seconds, the military force of the starborn Ascendancy was completely destroyed. Over 60,000 ships gone. Civilian vessels were unharmed. But anything with military-grade weapons was consumed. In the Jericho Command Center, the energy readings returned to normal. Quantum fire complete. All targets eliminated. Chancellor Rostova stared at the main display. Where the fleet had been, there was now only empty space. "My God," she whispered. "We actually did it." The message reached every Ascendancy world simultaneously. Chancellor Rostova appeared on billions of screens. To the former members of the starborn Ascendancy, she began, her voice calm and steady. "My name is Eva Rostova, Chancellor of the United Earth Government. 1 hour ago, your military forces declared war on humanity. Your combined fleet of over 40,000 ships has been destroyed. Every Ascendancy military vessel in the galaxy has been eliminated." The transmission showed images of empty space. "We offer each member species a simple choice," Rostova said. "Accept peaceful coexistence with humanity as equals, or suffer the same fate as your military forces. You have 72 standard hours to respond." The reaction was immediate. Some species panicked, broadcasting surrender messages within minutes. Others went silent, too stunned to respond. The hegemony government attempted to organize a resistance, converting civilian transports into warships. The plan lasted 6 hours. The human response came as quantum fire, erupting directly inside their space. Every converted vessel, every armed ship, every makeshift fortress burned. Civilian ships were untouched. The message was clear. Resistance was not just futile. It was suicidal. Within 24 hours, 38 of the 47 Ascendancy species had formally surrendered. The old Ascendancy bureaucracy was dismantled. Trade routes were reorganized. A new order was established. Emissary Jian Li stood in the same council chamber where humanity had been condemned. Now, she accepted the surrenders. "Humanity does not seek vassals or tribute," she told the humbled delegates. "We seek partners. Species willing to coexist peacefully will be welcomed as equals in the new galactic order." Dr. Petrova, now Director of Galactic Security, oversaw the deployment of monitoring stations linked to the Jericho network. "We are not conquerors," she explained. "We are guardians. The galaxy has been plagued by wars for millennia. Humanity will ensure those days are over." For the first time in galactic history, 47 species coexisted without major conflict. The peace was absolute, enforced by the terrible precise power of the Jericho network. Chancellor Rostova, addressing the first assembly of the new Galactic Federation, spoke from a station orbiting a neutron star at the center of the galaxy. "The age of human dominance is not about humans ruling over other species. It is about humanity ensuring that all species can thrive without fear of war or conquest."